Okay, so these are some more stories of these unexplainable transportations. Let's see what the Professor Iru says. A man who lived near Bahia Blanca suffered a dizziness when a strange aerial craft appeared before him. Professor Iru said, 10 minutes later, he came to, but found himself in Salta, one of the northernmost provinces in Argentina. The authorities in both locales communicated with each other immediately, and the man's automobile was found in Bahia Blanca, in exactly the spot where he claimed it would be. Okay, so that's one story. This guy got dizzy when a strange aerial craft appeared before him. If I'm standing outside my house where I'm presuming this guy would be, because it doesn't say where he was, I'm just going to say if I was outside my house and a strange aerial object appeared in front of me, I would get pretty freaked out too. I'd probably get busy. I'd probably get dizzy and want to faint too. And apparently, maybe that's what happened. And this guy was abducted. Or maybe there's just a lot of strange phenomenon going on in the country of Argentina or province of Argentina. I really don't know. I know Argentina. I thought it was a country. Is it a continent? It's in South America, I think. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry for being such a dumbass. The second case Professor Iru delineated for the journalist involved a professor of law on the faculty of Santos. This man claimed that a flying disc had sucked him on board. Why'd I say it like that? This man claimed that a flying disc had sucked him aboard and had taken him on a fantastic aerial journey before it released him. Professor Iru said, "All right, that's a pretty. I think that's a Twilight Zone episode." Communicating entities were involved in the third case history the professor presented to La Razón. This experience involves a most widely known and highly responsible painter, sculptor, and theatrical artist whose initials are BSP. Okay, you won't tell us the name, just say BSP? Or maybe it's a name that's too hard to pronounce, so they just say the initials. But if it's a highly responsible painter, sculptor, and theatrical artist, I think he wants attention. So this one I'm going to take with a grain of salt. The other two, I'm just going to believe blindly. But this one, this guy's a theatrical artist. Like, come on. Already, right off the bat, we know he likes attention. But let's continue. For many years, he was the director of the art salon of the Municipal Pink. BSP testified that he had been contacted by a blond Nordic appearing man who had eyes so clear that he appeared blind. The blond spoke in a guttural, unintelligible language, but his mannerisms were friendly. The artist got only a glimpse of the inside of the entity's craft before a wave of dizziness engulfed him. Okay, so this is a Nordic alien, and I think this is where like the Nazis and stuff may have started beginning to think that they were like the ultimate race, because there's like the different races of aliens and stuff, and the Nordics are one of them. And then there's the reptiles, right? The reptilians. And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of believe in this stuff because I've seen some people that look like freaking lizards. I know you guys have too. Don't lie. And before I continue, that word guttural, unintelligible language, the word guttural, I've heard it so much in like these creepy pastas that like it just lost all meaning. And I don't know if I really believe a story when they use the word guttural growl, or like another one is AI. Whenever you generate a script and it gives you, trust me, I've done this before and I feel like a cheap whore for doing it, but you generate a script and it gives you the wording and verbiage and all that. They always use the word nightmare fuel, and it's cringe. I hate hearing that anytime I'm listening to a video and the narrator is like, it's pure nightmare fuel. I'm like, okay, ChatGPT wrote this script for you, man, just admit it. But I'm trying not to use ChatGPT. I'm just trying to give you all me, baby. Anyways, let's continue. The artist got only a glimpse of the inside of the entity's craft before a wave of dizziness engulfed him. Oh, I already said that. When he awakened, Professor Eru went on. BSP saw that he was flying along with three blonde beings. One of them, very gentle, interrogated him in a language also unintelligible, but BSP understood, or at least believed he perceived the man's thoughts by telepathic communications. Okay, this sounds a lot to me like it's tongues. You know, they say like when you speak in tongues, it's a language that everybody understands, like universally. It's a universal language, and that's biblical, you guys. Read up on it. BSP was told not to be frightened. They would return him to Earth in precisely the same spot from which they had plucked him. BSP said that all during the flight, he was in a kind of a swoon, but he believed that he saw beneath him the terrain of Japan, France, and later Chile. When he awakened from the peculiar trance state, he found himself to be standing in the exact same spot at which he had first encountered the blonde being. Okay, again, geography is not my strong suit. Maybe this guy, he was a painter. Maybe he painted globes. I don't know. If I'm up in the air, if I'm over the earth, I don't think I could tell you what China looks like. I can't point it out. I couldn't do it. But this guy was able to. It makes the story more better. In a summation for La Razón, Professor Eru said, in none of these cases do the witnesses speak of hallucinations, nor do they speak of having been intoxicated or doped. What caused these phenomena? Well, unfortunately, we cannot answer that conclusively. It may be that friends from other worlds possess some type of electromagnetic wave with which they attract any non-magnetic object from the surface of the earth, so that they might use this object in their studies. La Razón asked the professor how parapsychology viewed such a theory. From our viewpoint, Professor Eru answered, we find it noteworthy that these beings can manage telepathy with such great mastery, because they seem to be able to make our minds understand things which cannot be expressed by speech. At the same time, they capture without difficulty our answers. Nothing more, with any seriousness, can be said of these phenomena at this time. But for some special reason, the North Americans have kept the Vidal's car in their powerful laboratories to examine it. Author's note, the Vidal's car at Peugeot 403 was said to have been sent to the United States for examination in scientific laboratories. Dr. Vidal received another automobile of the same make in exchange for it. Okay, because I was just about to ask what the hell America, how they got their hands on the car. How did they even hear about this? There must have been some sort of communications between the two countries. I mean, USA, right? With the powerful laboratories. This is just freaky all around. And I guess Peugeot 403 was a type of car. Peugeot 403. Google it. Let's see if it's real. In the September-October 1970 issue of Flying Saucer Review, Creighton reported that Mrs. Vidal died of leukemia early in 1969. This information having been revealed through a slip-up by a member of the family to an investigator whose country of origin is in continental Europe. Could Mrs. Vidal's fatal bout with leukemia have been prompted by exposure to intense radiation during that bizarre 48-hour disappearance and teleportation to Mexico? And did the Vidals drive into a hole in time and space, a tear in our dimension which leads to another? Or were they transported from one geographical location to another by beings from another world or another dimension? I mean, that does make you think if like a lot of radiation was used to teleport them. We don't know if these beings are immune to radiation. because we know damn sure that we human beings aren't. Did you watch Chernobyl on HBO? Man, that is scary. Same issue of Flying Saucer Review, Creighton reported several other alleged teleportations which occurred in South American countries shortly after the Vidal's mysterious flight. Yeah, so something's definitely going on in South American countries. A young, newlywed Brazilian couple stopped for a rest as they traveled through the southern Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul. They were sitting in their Volkswagen when they were both overcome by drowsiness. When they awakened, they were in Mexico. Man, that's kind of weird that everybody keeps ending up in Mexico. Maybe Mexicans really are aliens. Nah, hey man, I'm Mexican myself. Don't trip on me. In another case in Rio Grande do Sul, two young men traveling by jeep claimed to have run into a bank of white fog. Oh, look, there goes that white fog again. The next thing they knew was that they were on an unknown landscape, which turned out to be in Mexico. Man, this is starting to freak me out, you guys. Creighton quotes the January 15, 1969 issue of the Rio de Janeiro newspaper, Diario de Noticias, which speaks of two other cases of instant transportation. Okay. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on back then. I wonder if this stuff still happens now. Maybe it does and we just don't believe it because of all the AI crap. Let's continue. There are rumors that two persons who were traveling in their car along the President Dutra motorway were transported from there to a town in the USA and close to the Mexican border. Wow, I'm shocked. Now we're in the USA. The car bore marks made by the hooks of the transportating. Why do I say transportating? It's not transportating. It's transporting. The car bore marks made by the hooks of the transporting vehicle. Okay, this is making it seem like it's like a fishing hook or something. Did you ever see that one episode of Futurama where everyone was disappearing and they thought it was the rapture, but it turns out it was just like alien fish up in the atmosphere, like sending down hooks and fishing for humans? I don't know, that's what this made me think of. Another Brazilian couple named Azambuja are also said to have been transported to Mexico in their car in similar circumstances. Man, I don't know, these aliens seem to be trafficking people from other countries to Mexico. That's what it seems like to me. But let's continue. It would seem that somewhere in Brazil there exists an ultra-dimensional shortcut to Mexico, or were these automobiles really transported by some otherworldly or other dimensional vehicles? I think they may have been drugged and just taken to Mexico. I don't know. This is pretty crazy. You don't know what these mind-altering drugs would do. In numerous cases discussed in other books, there have been reports of the simultaneous manifestation of mist, fog, or white clouds with the strange disappearances. Creighton recounts the experiences of Graciela Dolores Jimenez. Okay, that was more names than I expected to say. Graciela Dolores Jimenez, an 11-year-old Argentinian girl who walked into a cloud of white mist and was not seen again for 3 hours. When she did reappear, she found herself in an unfamiliar section of town. Don't say Mexico. She was weeping in a distraught state. She appealed to a resident of the area for help. That's pretty creepy. Could you imagine? But look, she was 11. She got lost in a dense fog and ended up somewhere else. I mean, for 3 hours though, that's pretty crazy. Maybe she had a bout of maybe she had a manic episode. This is creepy. I'm starting to creep myself out. In another instance, Senor Marcillo Ferraz and his wife encountered a white cloud on the road as they neared the frontier of Brazil in Uruguay. When they regained consciousness, they too found themselves in Mexico. Goddamn Mexico. Both of the Ferrazes suffered severe traumatic shock. And when Senor Ferraz learned that he had developed a tumor on the brain, he shot himself. Okay. I mean, that's pretty tragic. Usually, first we had one lady develop leukemia after a strange transportation, whatever you want to call it. And then this guy was transported from Uruguay to Mexico. He found that he developed a tumor on the brain. I would say the tumor may have attributed to his disappearance, but his wife was there too to account for it. So I wonder what happened with the wife. Was she okay? Hopefully. I hate hearing about, people dying and stuff, man. It's sad. It's too much of it. Brings me down. Anyways, the newspaper Diario de Noticias and Folha de Joyas. Look, I don't know Brazilian, Portuguese. I don't know. It's a gutter language. Nah, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing around, you guys. But really, I don't know how to read this word. Folha de Goiás. It's Portuguese, y'all. I don't know it. Both carried accounts of a bizarre case which occurred in the state of Goiás, Brazil, on the night of April 20th, 1969. In this instance, a Senor Dolor Roque saw some lights as he was riding into the town of Itucu on his horse to obtain some medicine from a pharmacy. When he next opened his eyes, he found himself on the bank of the Paranaíba River. Why did I add that extra tongue roll for river? Near a place known as Itumbiara, a distance of 250 miles from Itucu. Man, look, next, can I just get a story of somewhere in America where I know how to pronounce the names? Anyways, hailing a man with a horse and a cart, Roque beseeched the driver to take him to the nearest bus station. When he returned to his home, he found his family very distressed by his disappearance, since the horse had made its way back to the stable the night before. Okay, that's weird. He disappeared, but his horse didn't. I think this guy may have stopped off for something. Men do crazy things sometimes for love.